only 13% of regular listeners actually follow the podcast. That means there's 87% of you that regularly tune in that don't follow, subscribe, or share. And we want to make this 87% who do. So whatever platform it is that you regularly tune in from, please consider following, subscribing, and sharing, because you never know whose life you'll impact by sharing something that you value. Welcome to Impact Your Evolution with me, Coach Andy James, and it's our goal to help you turn your health from an option into your priority. Okay, so we're back. The podcast is back, episode 141. It's the third iteration of me podcasting for the past 4 or 5 years. What does this bring? So you've kind of seen that I've had a hiatus from this for a while, and I want to cover a few things in this one. So this is just really sort of, reestablishing what we're here for, why we're doing what we're doing, and the direction that this podcast is going to be taking in the future. I'm going to keep this raw. I'm going to keep this very truthful. These are going to be honest conversations, and we will be bringing in regular guests on a monthly basis too, from a GP that's partnered with me inside of one of my businesses right now, as well as other people that I'm interacting with on a regular basis that I'm meeting in this new world of creating business through networking, which is a unique opportunity, let's say. So what's happened in the past year? Well, in the past year and a bit, I turned 40, and there was a bit of an epiphany at that point. I think this is kind of what the catalyst was with regards to why the podcast maybe kind of got shelved for a little while. So it started life as FitFlow Radio. You may have been here from the very beginning. So if you scroll right back to the early episodes, and I actually had a look through the previous earlier episodes, and it's actually the first 13 episodes of this particular podcast. It would be under a different name by now, but the first 13 episodes were actually the most popular. And maybe that was because social media worked in our favor back then. Who knows? But that being said, it was more about raw, truthful conversations. And over the period of time and through the manipulation, let's say, of how social media plays a part on what people do in this world of social media, podcasts, in the media, so to say, I kind of feel the podcast just took it was following the currents of what was going on. And it wasn't really about what I wanted the podcast to be about. Now, I initially started the podcast because it was a place for me to be able to talk about real world scenarios, things that I've experienced, things that people I know that I've coached that have gone through similar scenarios, and how it can help others overcome certain stigmas, mindsets, reframing things that you can take benefit from. You can actually install into your life pretty quickly and start making steps moving forwards. But that being said, the podcast kind of took a bit of a turn halfway through. And I guess it started to become a bit more about education. And it did turn into Impact Evolution. Now, that is, stroke, hyphen, however you want to put it. It is the business name. So the business name as the trading name is Impact Evolution. Now, did I want the podcast to be about this? I wanted it to be impacting your evolution, hence the rebrand, because I want to be able to still bring these raw, truthful conversations, things that I feel like need to be spoken about that maybe get missed, just giving people a safe place to be able to be heard and understood from somebody that may have been or may be going through something that you are as well. So I'm bringing these podcasts back into a raw environment. These are not going to be any way, shape or form geared towards social media and what social media wants people to be talking about. As you've probably seen for a while, I've taken a massive step back from social media. Like I say, when I turned 40, I had this bit of an epiphany, and it was that I'm not a social media kind of person, and I've had to play the game of social media, being in business for a very long time now. And I'm quite a private person. I like my life to be my life. I like to be able to live behind my four walls and know that my life's the thing that I'm contributing to, and it's the thing that I'm building. And yeah, I think everybody shares an aspect of life, but it doesn't have to be the highlight reel. It can be raw, it can be truthful, it can be something that somebody would actually connect with. And this is kind of where the whole thing of me being in the fitness industry started. Back in 2012, I believe it was, coming out of the other side of my mental health battle, struggle, breakdown, however you want to frame it. By the way, anybody that is going through something or feels like they are going through something, that is not me dismissing the importance of what happened in my life at that point. I'm just very, very comfortable with processing what went on and how I went about dealing with that. But that aside, I'm not kind of flattening that down at all. What I do want to say is that it brought around a lot of raw conversations. And a lot of those conversations back then were helping a lot of people. And that's the direction that I intend to take this podcast in the future moving forwards. It's going to be this similar sort of setup. It's going to be raw, truthful conversations with people that I can bring in that I feel that you would take value from. And like I say, if you've been around for a while, you'll know that I'm connected with some very unique people in the industry. I've been around for a very long time at this point, probably one of the dinosaurs in the fitness area type thing. And what I want to be able to do, and what I've had this desire for a while now, is bring these people that I've met over the past 18 months into your world through me via conversations, questions, and things that I can share that's going to help you. These are going to be episodes based from conversations with our in-house resident GP. They're going to be conversations with people that I know from all around the world with regards to fitness, regards to health, regards to how things are balanced, mindset, things that are going to be able to help you overcome maybe some of the obstacles that you're facing. But what I want for you most is to be able to show up to this podcast every single week, because that's the commitment I'm going to make moving forwards, and know that every single time that you do, you will take a new perspective away with you. This isn't going to be a please the social media algorithm approach. I'm done with that. I've passed that. Maybe I'll do an episode on that later on down the line, why I stopped social media. And as you know, I will stop social media. The only way I will be sharing this podcast out is via social media, and that's pretty much the only presence that I'm going to be keeping via the social media platforms. I am pretty much spaced in the space of LinkedIn now. For anybody that is out there that does ever come across this, you can find me on LinkedIn specifically because I'm looking to deal with business to business now. This is the way that I'm moving my business moving forwards. Doesn't mean that general public are off limits. By no means does that mean that what I'm doing with the business. It just means that where I put my time and attention on social media platforms, it's basically LinkedIn. You can catch all of the podcasts on YouTube, on Spotify, on the Play Store, all of the different places that podcasts are put. You can find them all in these places. The easiest way to find it, just head over to the website, impacthealthclub.co.uk, and you can find all the podcasts, all of the information, and regular free giveaways that are put onto the website too. So that's impacthealthclub.co.uk. But big deep breath. So where do I want to take this? Today, this was really about me just getting over the hurdle. It was about me getting over the obstacles of finding reasons as to why not to do the podcast. Now, I love podcasting. I love being able to speak from being just authentic and genuine, and all of the cheesy, corny words that people use these days. They kind of make me cringe in my skin itch a little bit, I'm not going to lie. But I like this form of media because it allows me to just be free with what it is that I'm speaking about. I've got absolutely nothing around me at this point in time, no notes on the wall, no screens behind the camera, nothing prompting me to go from. This is just me talking from a place of in here in hope that you can actually find something genuine to take away from it. So I would say, the thing I want to leave you with today. So first of all, thank you for re-engaging. I will make this a priority on a weekly basis, just so you know that the schedule for this will probably be a Thursday on public release, and everybody in my health club will be getting this at an earlier release. But I want to make sure that you take something away from today. So what can I give you that would help you move forwards, or somebody move forwards? Because my focus is to help one person take something away from this. Is you can go through a lot at pivotal points in time. So for me, 40 wasn't the midlife crisis. 40 was an awakening. And I turned 41 this year. So I've had 12 and a bit months of being 40 on this side of 40, let's say. And I must say, there is not one point in that turning 40 that's been a scary moment. There have definitely been some hurdles along the way. What I haven't shared with a lot of people is the struggle that I've gone through in the past 12 months with regards to my own personal health. So I was diagnosed at the beginning of 2023 with extremely low testosterone production. This is sort of transpired due to medications that I was on going through my mental health battle, which I didn't know nothing about. So I was kind of in this place of revisiting, and it was a very, very difficult place because I was kind of revisiting a lot of thoughts and feelings, emotions, battles, struggles, obstacles, hurdles, whatever you want to call them, that I was going through when I was going through my mental health struggle. So the whole environment was very, very familiar. How I was feeling, the disconnection from the world that I felt, the decentralization, if you know anything to do with kind of what low hormone feels like. Decentralization is where you feel like you are detached from physical feeling and emotion internally, so you don't really understand what's going on in yourself, what's going on externally. It's very hard to process these things. For 5 or 6 months, I was going through this battle, and I didn't really know what it was about. I had nobody pointing me in the direction of anything. I kind of tried to seek help via certain NHS services, but I was brushed aside. You're 40, you look after yourself, you're in the fitness industry, there's nothing wrong with you. Debatable. So what did I do? So the thing that I want to be able to leave you with is just kind of laying the foundations of where we're going to be moving forward with this podcast. And that is paying attention to not just your weight on a scale, not just the measurements of a tape measure, but all-round health, from internal, external, physical, nutritional, mental, how you flex the whole body mentally and physically. This is the approach that I want to be able to help you with moving forwards. This is the approach that we cover inside of the Health Club now. And what I did was I took what my body was telling me and I got some private blood work done, because there was something that I knew that my body was not happy with, and I couldn't figure out what this was. And at this point, I was thinking, well, is this something I've got to live with? Is this something that I've discovered that I should or shouldn't be feeling? There was a lot of questions. And I think a lot of people would kind of class this as a midlife crisis thing. They don't really know what to put it down to. They're kind of looking for something that reinvigorates this life in them. And it just wasn't happening. And I didn't do anything crazy. I didn't go through any kind of bouts of searching for something that would give me like instant gratification or make me feel elated with anything. What I was trying to do was figure out why I was feeling the way that I used to feel 12, 13 years ago when I was going through my mental health struggles, because I've done nothing that would take me back to that place. I've kind of built a lifestyle, and a very, very, I would say a very, very forward thinking type lifestyle that allows me to be the best version of who I am on a daily basis. But I wasn't feeling that way. So maybe you're sat around, maybe you're wondering, why do I feel low? Why do I feel like my mood's constantly yo-yoing, roller coastering up and down? Why do I feel like each and every day I can't piece together, I'm just kind of scraping through from one to another? I would say that if you're, and this is what I wish somebody had told me, if you're plus 35, if you're at a point in life where you're maybe considering like what the future might hold for you, where you're currently at, do you even know where your baseline is? Do you even know what's been going on internally for the last 35 years plus of your life? Chances are no. I can't remember the last time I had a blood test. Not one that was a full health screening one anyway. And this is something that I know that I needed to be able to take this away with me to say, well, actually, you know what, Andy, you've been doing so much for yourself in a very positive way. You can probably see the bookcase behind me. That is a 5% representation of everything that I've consumed in the past 12 years. There are audibles, there are books, there's books scattered all over this office right now that have got some kind of input that's built me to the person I am today. And every single one of these processes, these thoughts, these pieces of education that I've gone through, I tried to revisit to understand what I was physically feeling, and I couldn't put my finger on it. I didn't know what it was. And it got to a point where I said, today's the day I need to do something that maybe is I've kind of dealt with the invisible illness thing before. When I was going through the mental health stuff, it was kind of stigmaed as the invisible illness back then. They were talking 12 years ago when there wasn't as much awareness around mental health back then. And I've kind of dealt with that invisible illness thing for a long time. And it's how it felt again. So I decided to get my blood work done. And it came back with everything that I wasn't expecting. I was expecting to be 40 years old and fit, healthy, looking after myself. But no, it kind of threw a whole grenade into a right mess of things that had to be unpicked, because I had to try and figure out what was going on for me. And slowly, bit by bit, as I've pieced the whole the puzzle together, I now know what this looks like and think I do have to do things differently. But it doesn't mean that you have to stop. It doesn't mean that you have to get very negative towards what's going on. It means what it does mean. It's me getting passionate. You'll get this a lot. What it does mean is that you have to be able to take it upon yourself. Self-ownership is something that most people do not take responsibility for. They want to place blame, they want to place responsibility into the hands of somebody else to make those decisions for them. NHS, coaches, people, therapists, they want to be able to say, here is my problem, now my problem is your problem, make my problem go away. And that's the expectation of what this world kind of revolves around these days. The reality is most people don't take responsibility or the ownership of those things for themselves. Now, it's okay, a coach telling you, go and do this to lose body fat, go and do this to gain more muscle tissue. It's okay for a therapist to talk you through the processes, to give you coping mechanisms, to things that is going to help you try and compartmentalize these struggles that you're going through. But until you take ownership of what's actually going on inside and outside, you never really fully control or own the process in getting you through the other side of what's going on. So this is the thing that I really needed to look at internally for myself. This is the thing that I want to be able to help you take away today is, if you feel something is off, your inner voice, that inner voice that sits inside of you that's screaming to you like alarm bells are ringing, please listen to it. If you haven't had blood work done for at least, if you're 35 and above, I would say if you're 35 and above, you hadn't had blood work done regularly, I would say in the last 2 to 3 years, go and get some done. You can go down the private route, you can have it delivered through your front door, you can do it in your house. But make sure you get something done on a regular basis that's looking after the inside of your body, because all you're focused on is what's going on the outside. Now, what's going on the inside, plus 35 years old, can dictate very much so what's going on the outside. And this is something that a lot of people miss the mark on. They miss the mark on how hormones are actually impacting them losing that body fat they've been struggling to use for years. They actually forget about how hormones should be regulated. And it's not just about being physical or eating the right foods, but there's a whole other complex world going on inside of you that is forgotten about. That's what I want to be able to leave you with today, is think about the things that are next level. They're a step further forwards. Maybe the things that you've forgotten about. Yes, nutrition matters. Yes, eating good quality food matters. Yes, moving and exercise matters. But there's a world outside of that you need to explore. If you've been struggling with these things for a while and you've said to yourself, well, I have stuck to, the whole diet plan. I've stuck to the exercise regimes. I've stuck to the whole schedule, but I'm not really going in the direction that I want to be going. There's definitely an underlying approach. I don't want to say issue. There's definitely an underlying area that's not being addressed that you need to kind of like dig up and uncover a little bit to see what's happening for you moving forward. It might be nothing. It might be that just having a better understanding of where you're at currently in your life will help you move forward. But I would say right now, chances are there's probably something in your life that isn't being addressed, that you don't really fully understand, but you're trying to fight the battle of. Don't make the journey any harder than what it needs to be. Go and get some private blood work done. Go to the GP, get some blood, request for blood to be done. After a certain age, you can actually request this, especially in the UK. Now I have my GP on a regular basis sending me text messages constantly after they said they wouldn't help me. So I've gone down the private route, and I have to, just simply because of what it is that I'm trying to unpick and get support with. So this may be an option for you. But that being said, it doesn't mean that there is no end. It doesn't mean that there is a physical full stop at what it is that you're looking to try and produce for yourself. It just means that you have to maybe be a bit more educated, a bit more understanding, maybe give yourself a little bit of grace. You don't understand how much stress is created on the body when you're focusing on all of these different aspects of life when you're 35, 40, 45, 50 plus, because there is life that's going on around you at the same time whilst you're trying to produce something. We like to think that we're 21. We like to think we can still do the things that we could create for ourselves, in our bodies, for our bodies when we're in our 20s. But the reality is, life's kind of living at this point of life. Plus 35 years, 40 years old. What I'm finding is that you're in momentum of life, and it's your job to take ownership of navigating what that looks like. Exercise, nutrition, internal health as well as external health, mind, and build on that as your foundation, and make sure that it's a very well structured foundation that you can move forwards from, because then that way, everything you do in the future, it's a lot easier to understand. You can predict a lot easier what your body's doing and the outcomes of that. So just to kind of conclude on this one, go and get some private health checks done. If you feel that you're maybe off, you've been trying for a while, you maybe feel like there's an alarm bell ringing in the back of your mind that there's something more going on for you internally, maybe. There is no fear in what that looks like. It's better to know now than know later, when there could have been a greater possibility of something even bigger, an even big issue that you might be dealing with. So that's what I'd like to leave you with today. Don't ignore the internal health. Make sure that that matters just as much as your external health. We're back in another episode in a week's time, so make sure that you are dialing back in, whatever platform it is that you're coming in from. Make sure that you do follow, you do subscribe, and you do share, because you never know whose life you can impact for sharing something that you value. And moving forwards, I'll make this a regular thing. We have an awesome week. I'll speak to you in the next one. Take care.